Hi, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday today. And I'm really excited today because I have two of my all time favorite people on the interview today. They are, of course, my daughters who I think got all the good stuff from me and none of the bad. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They're quite similar in their strengths and they're also very different. And they also have different careers and jobs that they use their strengths for. So, Savannah, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, who you do it for, and what your top five strengths are.
Hi, I'm Savannah Newkirk. I am the client services manager at ICAP. And so my top five strengths are strategic, competition, command, intellection, and self assurance.
All right, X, she's a powerhouse of strengths. Yeah, Caroline, introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Caroline. I live right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I work in the emergency room at a hospital down here called Northside Hospital. And my top five, I know my number one is achiever, belief, strategic, positivity, and competition are my top five.
All right, excellent. So as you can see, my girls are they look different. They have some different talents. They have the same parents, believe it or not. I know that's hard to believe. So I'm going to just launch into the questions today. And so, Savannah, tell me what strength of yours has helped you manage through this reset. We're calling this time period now a reset for all of us. So what strength has helped you manage through it?
I think probably my kind of strategic and intellection. So those are going to be certainly my strategic thinking strengths. And I've really had to use them in a very different way here lately, just because usually I relate them a lot to kind of business and growing our business and trying to figure out how we can continue to kind of expand our reach. And so what that's looked like in this kind of reset is really trying to be a lot lean on more of that introspection and figuring out how during this time um, with very few distractions because everything has up to this point been shut down. What I and my partner need to do kind of on a daily basis to make sure that we continue to not just survive this reset, but also try to learn to thrive and be better at the end of it.
Yeah, very well said. Thank you. Caroline, tell me what strengths of yours have helped you to manage. You're in a completely different field, right on the front line. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I would say probably the ones that have helped me the most. Obviously, they all come in different places, but ones that are the most obvious to me is achiever and positivity. So achiever is my number one strength. Um, so in the ER, it's like things never stop, and so achiever is a very valuable trait to have in what I do. But especially in days like today, where there are just never-ending to-do lists of patients. If the patient's more sick, then it's the more that they require, and so just understanding what that means to get done. Just kind of putting my head down and doing it, and not really associating it in a sense with the emotional side of things, even though not to grow numb, but at the same time, when you see that COVID all day, every day, if you let the emotional side of you kind of take over, it's just debilitating. You're not able to keep going. So you kind of just have to draw a line and say, "This is my job. I'm going to get it done." And then also positivity has been huge for me. A lot of my coworkers and managers and stuff really struggle with what's going on, what this means for them, their family. And positivity for me is just helping my coworkers just try to have a normal day, a normal shift in the ER, trying to maybe crack jokes or just be lighthearted about things. Because like if you just let yourself get down to a point where you're just so depressed, you're not able to care for your patients, you're not able to care for people who are going through really terrible illnesses. So those have probably been the two that have really stuck out to me and being super obvious through all of this.
Excellent, excellent. Well said. Thank you. All right, Sav, let me come back to you and say, what strength has hindered you during this time?
I think certainly my competition and my command. Um, so those are kind of my influencing strengths. And again, that usually serves me really well in business, um, and sometimes in interpersonal relationships. And then kind of in this moment, my my circle of influence has gotten really, really small. And so that uh, that has not been something that is really kind of beneficial to anybody kind of in that small circle now, because there isn't really anything to compete about or compare or measure, because none of this is normal. And the I would say the basement probably of both of those strengths can be somebody who like is hypercritical and a little dominating, and so I've really had to turn that down, just because like we don't have any control over this, and so the more that I try to exercise that, the more I kind of suffer in a lot of ways that I really don't want to.
Yeah. Wow. Very well said. And thank you for your authenticity there. Caroline, what do you think? What about your strengths has hindered you in this ER and in this crisis?
I mean, I would say a mixture between my strategic and my achiever again, while it can be positive and stuff. Putting the two together, like I like to efficiently get things done quick. And so, while that's good most days in the ER right now, sometimes what a patient needs is not for you to just go in, get 100 things done, and leave. More so, what they need is for you to listen to them talk about their family and their grandkids that they're missing and how no one can be with them and hold their hand while you're doing an IV or something like that. Like, um, sometimes that's more so what they need and what will help them feel better than me, starting IVs and drawing blood and all that type of stuff. So just learning to kind of slow down in the midst of it, even though there's a part of you that feels like you need to speed up, but understanding the situation and when it would be best to slow down and when it would be best to speed up. So that's just kind of been a learning curve for me because the ER is all about speed and efficiency. So it's kind of how I've been trained. So it's kind of making you take a step back and almost relearn some things. But, if that's what the patient needs, and that's what we need to do, and just being willing to stop. So.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Both of you guys did so well with that. I have a couple more questions, and I'm going to ask one for each of you, but I'm not going to ask you the same question. So, Savannah, tell me what strength for you is helping you to dream about the future? What strength's helping you just to dream?
Probably out of my top five, I would say my self assurance. Yeah. And a little bit of my, intellection of like, you know, the self assurance is like, what do I want? And, what are my desires and what do I want that to look like? And then the intellection piece is like, and how can I benefit from those? And what steps, in a sense, do I need to take now? And, what is that going to look like just from an introspection place? Um, and then really kind of going up into that uh, my kind of leading strength was just strategic. How can I put strategies in place that is going to get me there? So, for instance, I had this personal goal to save X amount of money. And so, really being able to not just accomplish that, but then, accomplish that and then see of kind of using that discipline of like, well, I can absolutely implement this, going forward because I know that even though everything shut down and it doesn't always feel good, like I feel happier if when I spend less.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Yeah. Wow. Very powerful. Thank you. Caroline, here's your question. What strength is allowing you to be more present? What's allowing you to slow down and be more present? What strength do you think is helping you just to adjust it to this new rhythm?
Um, that's kind of hard. Obviously slowing down is not a theme in my life with my top 5 strengths, so it's kind of difficult for me just on a normal day. But honestly, I would kind of say positivity, because it makes you kind of sit and be in somebody's world and maybe hear what's going on with them, and try to offer some type of hope or encouragement. Instead of just trying to get things done, it's more so like, tell me your story, tell me what's going on. You kind of have to stop and listen. And then you also just have to find ways to choose joy in the midst of all of this, which sometimes makes you stop and say, okay, like, what am I thinking on right now? Is this beneficial? And like, how can I bring joy back into my life? And so it makes you be more intentional, almost to slow down, to purposely choose joy in the midst of it instead of just harping on something that's easy.
Yeah, awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Caroline. All right. So then I want to ask you this question. This is going to be my last question today. Thank you, girls. You've been awesome. What strength is growing you? Like, which strength do you think is really just challenging you to grow during this period? I know, Savannah, you've been really challenging yourself financially to grow in your savings. I get that. But just personally, what strength do you think are you using to grow? And just either whoever's ready will answer that first.
I think for me, so empathy is out of my top 5. And so it's 7 for me. And so I think like I can call on it pretty easily, but I think this has been a huge opportunity to like learn that um, that the things that I think are happening aren't always the whole story, and that the conversations that I'm in or the situations that I'm in with another person or with a group of people, everybody has their own perspective, and nobody is necessarily wrong. And so just trying to engage with that empathy in a lot of different ways has been very helpful. And then learning just to kind of like try to slow down and deal with things quickly, to really kind of seek to understand before trying to be understood.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. What about you, Caroline? What do you think is driving your growth right now? Because we're all growing in some ways. And what does that look like for you?
Honestly, I think my number 6, I think, is adaptability, and I'm kind of having to lean into that a whole lot more than I would probably into other strengths right now, because I mean, even just going into work, what they said yesterday will be different today, and the supply you had yesterday will be different today. You never know, and just taking almost each thing as it comes, with a mixture of my other strengths. I think it's just helping me understand that I'm not in control. There's no need to get upset about the things that are going on around me, because that's not going to fix my situation. Um, and just learning to kind of push through it. I think it's a good life lesson for me. I mean, this may be the only pandemic, but it's not going to be the only time I don't have control and something's wrong. So
Yeah.
it's learning what to do and how to respond when things are changed, canceled, expectations aren't met, all that type of stuff, and just being willing to adapt kind of on the fly. So that's been fun.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, so I want to stop and just tell you guys thank you. Man, you are beautifully made, each of you. I love the way that you've grown into just these two beautiful, loving, super successful adults, and I'm really, really proud of you. And I love how different you are, and I just wanted to honor that today. So thank you for sharing, for being vulnerable and authentic, and being brilliant as you both always are. So thank you. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day.
Love you, Mom.
Love you. Bye.
Okay, that was good.